Just a few blocks up from Wilmington's waterfront on Market Street sits a stately home that has been witness to more Southern history than most. When you walk into the Bellamy Mansion, you'll be confronted with some of the most contentious and fascinating times of American history.
So when you come to the Bellamy site, the story that we like to tell is the one of a rich, white, elite planter class who built the place and were the bedrock of the South and the economy. And then also the African Americans enslaved who are here as well on site. And they're two worlds which are side by side, but as far away as you can imagine. The slave owners and the enslaved. The whole of those groups of people, their worlds are about to explode. And by 1865, completely change. So the story of that change is the story that we're telling.
The Bellamy Mansion is a window into the world of the American South, before and after the Civil War.
The Bellamy Mansion was built in 1861 for Confederates. John and Eliza Bellamy, they moved in with their 9 children in 1861, and they were planters from South Carolina. They had slave plantations elsewhere in the state, and their main crop was pine trees and the naval stores that you get from pine trees. The slave quarters was built in 1859, and while it's a really well-built building, have to remember that the people in it, the 7 enslaved women in that building, had to work from dawn to dusk every day. They couldn't leave the site. They were constantly being watched. Work was very hard, and the conditions, while they were good for the time, is very relatively speaking, they were still enslaved. They were still owned by someone else. And that's an important part of the interpretation here when you go in that building.
We have gatherings to honor the enslaved people of the house, and we'll be reading their names and sharing this information with the community.
On a tour of the Bellamy Mansion, visitors will hear the stories of those who lived and worked in the home. Additionally, guides hold frank discussions about the role of slavery in the construction of the mansion.
There were Mr. Bellamy, his wife Elijah, and their 7 children. There were 9 slaves who worked hard in terms of the care of the family. During the summer, of course, it gets very hot. So in the lower part, or the basement part of the mansion, is where most of the work took place.
There are many innovations in this house. It's south-facing to catch the light. There's a cistern that recycled water. There's a belvedere on the roof, which was really the air conditioning unit. There's a coal cellar out in the back workspace outside the kitchen. 16 tons of coal would have filled it. There are 16 fireplaces on site.
The marble fireplaces and everything in the double parlour survived not only the Union occupation, but also a suspicious fire in 1972 that nearly destroyed the home. It took at least 5 years for Preservation North Carolina to repair it.
Priceless gasoliers are actually from Philadelphia, and they would have been plumbed for gas from day one. Also in the double parlour you see pocket doors, which slide into the walls, and pocket windows that do the same and create doorways onto the porch. The gardens, which are tended by volunteers, were laid out in this way in 1870 in a French style, and they had oyster shell paths and would have looked as they do today.
This stately home is a landmark for visitors seeking a better understanding of the massive socio-political change that transformed Wilmington and the South for over a century and a half. Here you can learn about the families who lived on the property, both free and enslaved, and their fascinating stories.
The Bellamy Mansion Museum is at 503 Market Street in Wilmington, and it's open for self-guided tours Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sundays from 1 to 5. Guided tours are on the hour. For more information, give them a call at 910-251-3700 or go online to bellamymansion.org.